Hey guys, welcome to my tank. I've been working on this for a few weeks now, and this is kind of where we stand. As you can see, we have a bunch of Cories, a handful of different rainbows, dwarf Praecox, some Bozeman's, that white Cory has been with us the longest. These come from two different tanks. We like having a lot of plants, so we try to have a nice little variety. My wife is the one that picks out all of our different plants and arranges them in there. We do use CO2. She's way more artistic there in the lower right. We have a few with the reds, obviously lots of green, and several different leaf types. As you can see there in the back, we have the digital fluval heater. That's really super nice, as it tells you whether it's too hot, too cold, and it's color coded, so you know instantly whether the temperature is where it's supposed to be or not. Up in the upper left there, you can see my power head. That one is rated at 480 gallons per hour, and that's a little bit overkill for what we have going on, so we'll probably get one that's a little bit smaller than that. Here I threw in an algae wafer. That always stirs up a lot of attention and activity. It brings out like the Autocinclus, the Cories, even the rainbows come and pick at it. I do believe there's a clip later that shows the snails. They come and attack it and will actually fight the fish for it. As you can see, especially during like the daylight hours, there's a lot of movement and the tank is very active. There's typically always something going on or something to look at. This is the clip I was referring to earlier. the snail is holding on to the little pellet, and he'll get pushed all around when the fish are sitting there trying to eat it. It's a lot of fun to watch. Holds his own though. As the tank is transitioning here into the more night mode, it adds some of like the blues and things into the light color spectrum, and it really makes those dwarf praecox pop. You can really see the blues and the reds and stuff on them. The really fine little particles that you're seeing in the water are not dirt or anything like that. It's actually the bubbles from the CO2. It kind of makes the tank look like it has a bunch of Sprite in it. So what you're seeing there in the back is not rock either. That is actually petrified wood. And there you can really see my CO2 diffuser and one of my autosynclus. That is actually a very large piece of driftwood there in the middle that we had to soak and boil to get most of the tannins out so it would stop turning the water brown. The left here you can see the CO2 drop checker as well really quickly. That's a must-have, I think, if you're going to run CO2 to make sure you don't hurt your fish. So underneath the fish tank is where we store our filter, all of our connections for the different pieces of equipment, our CO2 tank, any sort of medicines, extra food, prime, for when we're doing water changes. It's also where I keep our master test kit. You probably can't see it in that picture, but our CO2 runs about 1.5 bubbles to 2 bubbles a second. And there's our checker fluid. This is a spreadsheet that I actually made to help me keep track of all the different levels of the tank. As you can see, it also keeps track of water changes as well as when I add fertilizers. And there's a section down there at the bottom where you can actually leave notes. The note section is actually super helpful. As you can see when I'm scrolling down through here a little bit, it makes it really easy for me to remind myself of when I've done things, added things, changed things, so on and so forth. So one of the other nice features that I like that I built into this is that it's color coded. So as I'm entering the different metrics for the tank, if something's out of line, it will show up red. If everything's okay, it's green. So as you see, you just kind of scroll down through. All the cells have already been pre-coded, so I can essentially go infinitely and just keep tracking. So below the cells, there is a graph, and that is based off of the cell data. So as you can see, you hit the little arrows and it will scroll through the different dates, and it will show you essentially at a glance and color coded, what is working, what's not, what's in spec, what's not. The fertilizers and the water change, because those are checkboxes, are essentially just on and off. So those never go below 0 or 1. There's also the nitrogen cycle, which is the 1, 2, 3, 4. And below that, kind of to the left, is my tap levels. So I have essentially a baseline, and I know what I'm going to be getting when I put in water changes. Below the graph and below the nitrogen cycle and everything are the goals. This is essentially what dictates the color coding for the cells above. And again, it makes it really easy to know what you're shooting for, and as well give you a visual representation with the color. So the last one I have there is a tab in the spreadsheet up at the top that will give you averages. This was way more helpful when we had multiple tanks running. I used to have several different tanks, and when I would enter the different metrics on each one of their spreadsheets, it would then culminate and show them here, so I could look at all the tanks at one glance and see if one was way high, way low, anything of that nature. Alright everyone, well thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed seeing my tank, how we do things, how everything is set up. If you have any questions, comments, anything like that, please leave them below and I will do my best to answer. Have a great day.